Human trials began a couple of weeks ago, but this particular vaccine may not be the silver bullet we all want it to be.
I mean, it's impossible to tell what vaccine to make until the virus comes along, because there may not be a match.
Professor Graham Laver, a renowned molecular biologist, says in the time it would take to create the right vaccine for the particular human version of the bird flu, a great number could die. He says the best way to fight bird flu is with drugs that halt the infection once people start showing symptoms. One such drug, or antiviral, is called Tamiflu.
The policy of the government should be to get them into the chemist shops all throughout Australia. Every chemist shop should have a stock of Tamiflu, for example, to be used by people, to be sold over the counter and used very quickly after people become infected.
The thing with Tamiflu is that it has a dual role. Not only can it treat H5N1, it may provide some protection against getting the infection. And it's over this that the experts diverge. In Australia, the government is stockpiling the drug and plans to give most of the available Tamiflu to essential service workers, hospital staff, customs, quarantine workers, those sort of people, to provide them some form of immunity if the infection strikes. Professor Laver says this approach is wrong because it wastes the drug on people who don't yet have the infection.
Stockpile at the moment is supposed to deal with 1 million frontline workers for a period of 6 weeks. Now, half these people, perhaps more than half, 70%, may never be exposed to the virus, may never catch the virus. So that prophylaxis is wasted.
It'll be a very hard sell. Tell a customs officer to go to work in the expectation that he might pick up the virus, and then you'll fix him up later.
Yes, okay. So what's the alternative? The drug is stockpiled, kept in a secret location, held for 1 million people. There are 25 million people in Australia. What about the rest of the community? What about if your child suddenly wakes in the night with flu and you're terrified it's going to die? You want Tamiflu and you want it now, but you can't because Tony Abbott's got it all locked up. I mean, how are you going to feel?
What makes H5N1 all the more frightening is that so much is unknown. And it's not the only virus in this class. About 3/4 of emerging diseases in humans come from animals and wildlife. Flying foxes, bats and birds, we've got a bit to worry about. But let me throw pigs into the equation, and then it's getting quite serious.
There would be this symptom associated with the disease in pigs, a barking cough, and it became known as a 1 mile barking cough because you could hear it a mile away. People would know that the disease had arrived in their area, and they'd hear the cough and they'd hear it coming closer and closer into their neighbours, and then they'd know that they were going to be next.
Dr. Hume Field, a specialist on emerging diseases, is talking about an outbreak of Nipah virus he investigated in Malaysia. This virus broke out in pigs and infected hundreds of people living near pig farms. But no one knew why the animals were getting sick.
And that's the fundamental question. Where did the virus come from into the pigs? Here we go.
Working on a hunch, they found the same virus in the saliva of flying foxes. It turned out the flying foxes ate mangoes in trees above the pig pens, and their droppings infected the pigs. The Malaysians bulldozed countless farms, destroyed all the pigs, but not before the virus had spread to humans, killing half of those who caught it.
Temperature, fever, headaches, but fairly quickly it went into a coma and unconsciousness. In 48 hours or so they could be in a coma, and certainly within a couple more days they could be dead.
100 people died in that Nipah virus outbreak, but if bird flu strikes Australia, would 100 deaths be realistic?
100?
Yes.
More like 2 million. I mean,
well, To take that figure then, the probability of 2 million dying?
Yes. I mean, just look at the figures.
How do you know when you've got it?
If we suddenly start to feel those typical flu-y symptoms that we're also familiar with, I think, you know, the fever, the head sort of dullness and start to cough and so forth, then you know you've got flu. If at that stage you're lucky enough to have some Relenza or Tamiflu, you would take it.
The whole world is on alert for the first verified case of human-to-human transmission. The last time, 1918, there was a minimum of 40 million dead. But that was before the age of air travel. If a human-to-human outbreak does occur, what should you do?
The advice that would tend to go out, I would think, would be to tend to isolate yourself if you can. I mean, to stay away from public places. That's what happened in 1918, 1919. People were wearing masks. They were told to stay out of public places where they're likely to catch it. I mean, it's a respiratory infection after all, so the less that you're exposed to other people, and it doesn't just spread by respiratory spread, it will also spread by hand contamination and so forth. Then, so whether people would want to put themselves at risk by accumulating into large crowds, I would doubt. I think they would be more likely to try and isolate themselves.
I mean, if it really comes and kills people as it's killing people now and is highly transmissible, I think the statement that the world as we know it won't exist is true. And there's very little to be done about it.